Shimmy outside about Shim Hakodash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and elders, great people. We want to teach us. And a hearty shalom to the elect. I should brother Christ. I'm back with another lesson through the Spirit. How about Shim outside? And I want to say to or give it the water or say how about Shim outside the water for allowing me to do this lesson. All right. So persecution is going to come. Okay. All right. That's what the Spirit hit me with. Okay. It's a precept came to my mind. But persecution is going to come. Right. And persecution is going to come because we are altering the word. So like we are altering the world, okay, with this word, okay. All right, we are changing the hearts and minds of people towards how they look at so-called black people, all right, brown people, Indian people, or Mexican people, right. We are changing the viewpoint of how people look at the Bible. All right, when I say we, I mean brothers that teach the same doctrine as Ray Millstone, okay. All right. We are altering, we are waking up those that need to be woken up, okay? And with this word going forth, all right, a few years ago when Donald Trump was in office, he called us the prophets of doom, okay? All right, because we are preaching doom. We're preaching doom to this white supremacist establishment, okay? All right, and that's altering things. You see, I seen this video the other day where this white man was in the car screaming at the top of his lungs saying he hates his life, he hates his job, blowing his horn. He's going through the motions of a downfall in society. Okay, economically, America is crumbling. Morally, America has been crumbled. Okay, all right. And the people they just don't know what to do. Okay, but it's all because of this word. And with this word being pushed forth, okay, there will be persecution, okay, because there's going to be people that don't like what it is that you're saying and or do, okay, because it goes against what it is that they have been indoctrinated to believe, okay, and that's fine, but we don't care. We want the kingdom, all right. So this is the word persecution. All right, the word persecution or persecute. It says, in a general sense, to pursue in a matter to injure, vex, or afflict. To harass with unjust punishment or penalties for supposed offenses, to inflict pain from hatred or malignity. All right. So unjust punishment, man. Okay. We are told by the Lord to go out to the highways and byways to preach. All right. This is Matthew 22 and 9. Okay, it says, this is the Lord speaking. Let me pull it up in the school. If I need to just flip back and forth, I will. This is Matthew 22 and 9. And it says, go ye therefore into the highways, and as many as ye shall find, bid to the marriage, all right? And who are we trying, or who are we bidding to the marriage, all right? We are bidding those men that are going to stand stiffly for the name of Yahweh Shem Shai in the day of persecution, the day of Jacob's trouble, and the day of the Lord's wrath, okay? All right, we are bidding those men to the marriage, okay? If you read the story, you will know, all right, that some people that were bid to the marriage were found worthy and some that weren't, okay? You read the parable of the marriage feast, okay? But we are, through the mercies of the Lord, hoping to be found worthy in the eyes of Yahweh Shem Shai. But as we continue to preach this word and stand stiffly for the Lord in our day-to-day, trials and tribulations, our faith is being built up, and we're going to need that faith in the time of persecution to endure unjust punishment for teaching and preaching the word, okay? All right? All right, let me go here to Matthew as well. This is Matthew, the 5th chapter, and verse 10. It says, blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. So preaching the word of Yahweh Shem Shai, having that spirit of prophecy according to Revelation 19 and 10, okay, all right, is righteousness, okay, because in order for America to go down, prophecy has to be spoken, okay? And then prophecy is going to come to pass, and everything that the Lord Yahweh Shemashai wants to happen and or will happen is a righteous thing, okay? All right, because the will of the Lord is greater than anything, okay? All right, and it was the will of the Lord that set up these kingdoms that have ruled and the current one that is ruling now. And it is the will of the Lord for Yahweh Shai's kingdom to be in the next ruler seat, okay? All right. But in order for these things to happen, persecution must come. But blessed are those that are persecuted for righteousness' sake. Preaching is a righteous thing. Telling your people to repent from their wickedness and rebuking them because of their wickedness is a righteous thing. But your family members and other individuals outside of your family is going to hate that because one, you're ruffling their feathers because they have been so ingrained into the fabric of society. They don't know anything different, and when something else different is presented to them, if it's not part of their lifestyle, okay, they will, fight against it, okay, all right, and that's okay. That just means there's more room in the shade for the brothers and their family and me and my family, and that's the Lord's will, okay. So continuing on, blessed, verse 11 says, blessed are you when men shall revile you and persecute you and say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake. So for the name of Yahweh Shem Al Shai, if we have individuals that speak ill against us because what it is that we're doing, and there's I don't personally know anybody speaking ill against me, but I know of individuals, through the internet speaking ill will against the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and that's a blessing, all right? That's a blessing, all right? Because it says in the scriptures as well, the Lord said, just roughly paraphrasing, those false prophets were spoken well of. I can't even remember what it said. But, you don't want to be spoken well of because false prophets were spoken well of and it wasn't good for them. Something along those lines. I can't remember specifically, but nonetheless, if you're doing something that's contrary to society, you're not going to be spoken well of, okay? All right? If you out here telling a black woman, hey, you need to stop being a whore, if you're out here telling a black man to stop being a murderer, all right, and both genders, okay, you tell them to stop being homosexual because those things are contrary to the ways of Yahweh Shem Al Shai, but cool with the world, they're going to hate you for that, okay? And then you have these individuals that are die-hard Christians, no matter their ethnicity or their religion. They're gonna hate you for speaking against their white God, all right? And especially, just the so-called Negro woman, okay? I seen this video where this Negro woman, they were in the kitchen somewhere, and I don't know who this, I think it's like Prince Charles or some Edomite guy. He came in. The black woman was the only woman, all right, and she was overly excited. She was so excited she got down on her knees and crawled to the goddamn white dude, and the white dude was just looking at her, patting her on the stomach, rubbing her on her back, so I can out on her stomach, and having a conversation. But the whole point of that video is to show you that our people have a mental illness, and when we speak against our people and their ways in the world, it's a problem. But that's where persecution is going to arise from, because we are altering the world, okay, through this word, all right? It says, rejoicing ye exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven, for so persecuted they the prophets which were before you. And I know, I think it was not Hezekiah, the last king of Judah. Maybe, hold on, let me get it right. I remember, it was Manasseh, so it was Manasseh. He saw the prophet Isaiah in half, okay, because what it is that he was teaching. Jeremiah got locked into a dungeon, okay. The apostles and the Lord Yahweh, they were all martyrs in some way, shape, or form for this ministry. Don't think that's not going to happen to you, right? Especially if you put your face on the camera and you say "fuck America," we the Israelites and everything that pertains to the destruction of America, okay, and its government. Don't think that you're not going to be involved in some form of persecution, but there's a way to escape, and that way to escape is through the Lord, Yahweh Shai, okay, because Yahweh Shem Shai is the one that's bringing the persecution. when you read in the book of Psalms where it says, you know, Lord, deliver me from thy sword, which is thy whipping stick, just roughly paraphrasing, the Lord's sword is controlled by the Lord. Okay? So since the Lord's sword is controlled by the Lord, since the Lord's sword is controlled by the Lord can have Esau ease up on any type of form of persecution against you, or put it heavily on you, okay? But that just reminds me of this in 1 Corinthians. This is 1 Corinthians 10 and 13. It says, there have no temptation taken you, but it's such as is common to men. And what are some temptations that we can read in the scriptures that have befallen our brothers? All right, I just mentioned to you Isaiah being sawed in half by Manasseh. Then you got the 7 brothers and their mom. Okay, then you have Eleazar, you have Daniel. Okay, you have Stephen or Stephen, however you want to say it. He was stoned by the people because he told them the history of Israel. All right, those things we need to look at as examples to encourage us to stand sticky for the Lord in the time of persecution. Okay, all right, and then another thing, which is a miracle and which can happen for you. You know, you could be in a dire situation, and the Lord can have a brother teleport to you and help you escape or bring you some food, like Habakkuk brought to Daniel when Daniel was in the lion's den. Okay, all right, and you can read that in the Apocrypha. Things like that, miracles are going to happen. Okay, but so. Persecution for righteousness is something that's going to happen, all right. And it was common in the Old and New Testament. And don't think it's not going to be common here, okay. All right, it's not going to be something that's unbelievable because it's the first time it's happened, okay. All right. I remember hearing about the apostles and elders. They were locked up during that 9/11 situation because, you know, the Feds, the ATF, whoever the fuck it was, the CIA, may have got some information that, you know, to lock them up for whatever reason. But it's only because of what they were teaching, man, okay? We are teaching the downfall of a society that has, you know, ripped its reins throughout the whole 4 corners of the globe, okay? All right? But continuing on, let's continue on in 1 Corinthians 10. It says, but Yahweh is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that you are able. So we don't know our limits in regard to what we can endure and not endure when it comes to persecution, because we haven't been persecuted to the extent where we may potentially be persecuted in the times coming up, okay? But the Lord's going to be with us. That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing you need to understand and know, that the Lord will be with us, okay? It says here, continuing on, it says, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that you are able, but will with temptation also make a way to escape that you may be able to bear. You have to believe that. You have to have faith in that the Lord's going to put you through trials and tribulations and temptations, okay? All right, persecution specifically in this topic, okay? And he's going to allow you, all right, to escape, if that's his will, all right? Because there's going to be martyrs for the Lord, okay? But there's going to be brothers that escape, okay? There's going to be brothers that are delivered. There's going to be brothers that have help, okay? All right? And nonetheless, okay? All right? You have to believe that this will happen for you, okay? You have to believe it. It's faith. It's a thing of faith. This whole thing is a thing of faith, all right? From the time I first heard about the truth and started listening, I believe my faith has grown in this, you know, trial that I'm going through by being by myself teaching. All right, going to increase my faith, you know, in some way, shape, form, or fashion, however the Lord sees it. All right, but the trials that we go through, all right, are going to help us in the latter days, man, to believe and trust on Yahweh Shem Shai, because that's what we need to do. That's what we need to do. That's how we're going to make it through. Without faith, it says it is impossible to please the Lord. So if you don't have faith in the Lord, as it says in Hebrews, how you going to please your Creator? And then also it says, I know it's in Songs of Proverbs, it says, death, precious in the sight of the Lord is the death of his saints. So with the death of the Lord's saints being something that is pleasing to him, don't be afraid to die. Okay, so let me give this. This is Hebrews 11:6. It says, but without faith it is impossible to please him, for he that cometh to Yahweh must believe And to believe something means to think it to be true. Okay? All right, you have to think it to be true. Believe, believe, believe means to think to be true. Okay? And a man must believe that he is, and he is a rewarder of them that so like you that diligently seek him. All right? Seek the Lord now and the times that we live in by reading, praying, studying, fasting, fellowshipping with brothers if you can, watching videos, okay? That's how you seek your how about you now shine. Okay? Alright? Because in the time of trouble it may be too late. It may be too late to seek the Lord again. That's why the Lord still has the doors of mercies open as of right now, you know. I'm not no expert on when the Lord's gonna close them, okay? But we're gonna get into the point where this is going to happen, okay? This is Amos. This is Amos chapter 8 and 11. It says, behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of the Lord. And when you don't see the prophets on the highways and byways preaching and teaching anymore, then you should be afraid. Then you should be worried. Okay, all right, because the Lord is going to be hiding those that He's meant to protect. Okay, His elect. All right, not hiding in the sense of, I'm gonna say this as you can read it. I believe in John 17 or 19. The Lord prayed to not take them out of the earth, but to protect them from the evil. Okay, all right. So Lord Yahweh is going to be protecting those men that are of His elect from the evils, you know. All right, but we're going to have to go through bad times. Like Yahweh went through a bad time too, because that's what evil means, bad time. Yahweh went through a bad time to receive His blessing. All right, you can read Psalms the 2nd chapter to understand what His blessing is. Okay, all right. So let me make sure it's Psalms the 2nd chapter. I'm not second guessing myself because I know it's the Spirit that gives you the unction to speak. Yeah, and it is Psalms the 2nd chapter. Okay? Alright? You can read that. That's what we're going to inherit, or will we endure to the end. Okay? Alright? But continuing on, it says, and they shall wander from sea to sea, and from north to even to the east, and they shall run to and fro to seek the word of Yahweh and shall not find it. Alright? It's not going to be hidden. Alright? Those men that made their life a labor for the mercies and for the prophecies and for Yahweh Shemashai, those men that's preaching and teaching, they can be gone off the highways, man. All right, and they can be gone off the highways and byways for many reasons, all right? One reason could be for the form of persecution. There were some articles that came out maybe earlier this month, about, Christians being persecuted or, being arrested or locked up for street preaching, okay? The world is changing, and it's not because of Christianity, it's because of the prophecies that the Hebrew Israelites, okay, are bringing out throughout the four corners of the globe, okay? All right, Christianity is a failed religion that has brainwashed you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians to believing in a white God, okay? All right? And there's so much history out there about how these so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians was forced into Christianity, all right? And the scriptures say that you were, in Jeremiah 17:4, that you will, basically be you'll be disavowed from your heritage, And then it says in the curses that you're going to serve other gods, even wood and stone, neither you nor your fathers have known. And that's this Christianity in one form, right? You got this Muslim bullshit in another form. You got this Adon God Shiva bullshit in another form. You got the nigger woman or the woman in general in another form. You got money in another form of, worship. All these things that you constantly give your time to, all right, it can be looked at as your God, okay, all right? But the power of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians is going to destroy all this, all right? And that's what you need to turn back to, because persecution is coming, okay, all right? I'll sit down and think of scriptures, but when the camera starts rolling, the Spirit hits you, the scriptures that you think of sometimes, they don't even come out, all right? But let me get this, because this is highly important. Standing stiffly for the Lord. This is 1 Corinthians 16 and 13. It says, watch ye, stand fast in the faith. What is the faith, man? Believing that the name of the Lord is Yahweh and the Son's name is Yahweh Shai. Okay? Believing that what the apostle and the elders teach a great millstone is 100% truth because the men of great millstone have the 100% truth, okay? Believing that the MOTB is the mark of the beast, which you need to stay away from, okay? Lord will later on tonight, I'm gonna do another video because there was this Jake man who got the Neuralink implanted into his brain, and he stated that this is the future. It may not happen he said it may not happen for you and your parents as of right now, but it may happen for your grandkids or your grandkids, where that's going to be the new thing. Like one thing was, hey, everybody had a cell phone, iPhone, Samsung. What's another hip thing that everybody was hip to, where everybody rode the wave on, whatever that may be. This may be the new next wave, he was saying, or he said this will be the new next wave, he was saying. And people are gonna flock to it. But part of the faith is to not take that, okay? The part of the faith is to understand that thing will be detrimental to your life, okay? But for those that don't take it, if you read 2nd Ezra, the 16th chapter, starting at maybe like 65 on down, there's going to be heavy persecution against those individuals, okay? All right, but that's okay. The Lord will make a way for you to escape, as we just read in 1 Corinthians 10:13, okay? The persecution is on the way, but also deliverance is on the way, okay? It says here, I'm going to read it again. Watch ye. What are we watching for? We watching for the prophecies. We watching for deliverance. We watching for the Lord's return. We watching for World War III. We watching for pestilences. We watching for things that pertain to us being delivered up out of here, okay? All right? It says, stand fast in the faith. Quit you like men. Be strong. Be strong. And how we be strong in the Lord? We be strong in the power of the might of the Lord, okay? All right? Because we know the Lord is very, very, he's powerful, man. He created everything that we see. All right, and he gave the man that is ruling right now the power that he has. So don't be afraid of what man can do or potentially could do, because you don't know what man can do. Man don't even know what he can do. Okay, because the Lord is the one that's sealing your instructions while you're sleeping. All right. I think I just had a precept and I kept bumping my gums. Oh, Isaiah. This is Isaiah 40. This is Isaiah chapter 40 and verse 8. But thou, Israel, my servant, and Jacob, whom I have chosen, the seed of Abraham, my friend, thou whom I have taken from the ends of the earth, and called thee from the chief men thereof, and said unto thee, thou art my servant, I have chosen thee, and not cast thee away. So there's a lot in this precept, okay? The main thing that I want you to understand is that the Lord chose Jacob, okay, not Esau, all right, and not any other nation. So no other nation is going to receive salvation but you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, okay? Hey, son, turn on this light. Son. Oh, you can't hear me. And it says, the Lord called us from the chief men. All right, the Lord has scattered us everywhere, man. All right, so the Lord called us via His word to understand who we are, to come back to Him. And part of understanding and coming back to who we are, and part of the faith is understanding that we want to go through persecution. The apostles went through it, the Lord went through it, the prophets before, like He had said in Matthew the 5th chapter, went through it. We're not exempt, especially if the Lord went through it. There's no reason we're going to be exempt, okay? It says, fear thou not, for I am with thee. Be not dismayed, for I am thy power. I will strengthen thee, yea, I will help thee, yea, I will uphold thee with the right hand of my righteousness. So there we go. Believe this. Same thing that it kind of mirrors 1 Corinthians the 10th chapter and the 13th verse. The Lord's not going to allow you to endure things that you can't endure. He's going to be there to help you. Same thing. All right? Same thing in a roundabout way. Okay, it says, behold, all they that were incensed against thee shall be ashamed and confounded. They shall be as nothing, and they that strive against thee shall perish. So persecution, when it comes, those that are against us, the Lord's going to fuck them up, man. All right, in His own time. But we may have to go through pain and suffering, all right, unjust punishment, all right, for us to see our enemies go down, okay? For us to see those that are against us perish, okay? All right. It says, "Thou shalt seek them, and shall not find them. Even them that contend with thee, they that war against thee, shall be as nothing, as a thing of naught. For I, Yahweh, thy power, will hold thy right hand, and say unto thee, Fear not, I will help thee. Fear not, thou worm Jacob, and ye men of Israel, I will help thee, saith Yahweh, thy Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel." The Redeemer that's going to get us is Yahweh Shai, but Yahweh set it all up, man, okay? But the Lord's going to come get us in the time of persecution. Don't be afraid, okay? And if we have to die and be martyrs for the Lord, just be strong like Paul was, okay? All right, this is one of my favorite precepts in the book of Acts. They were trying to convince Paul not to go down to Jerusalem, all right? And that's okay. But Paul knew his mission, just like you know yours, all right? It's we soldier for the Lord. And as being a soldier for the Lord, sometimes you got to battle by yourself. You got to battle with a group. Okay, but the battles that you fight by yourself is the ones that's going to strengthen you to help other brothers fight battles within the group or by themselves. All right. This is Acts chapter 21. Let me get straight to the point. It says, "Then Paul answered, What mean ye to weep and to break my heart? For I am ready not to be bound only, but also to die at Jerusalem for the name of the Lord Yahweh Shai." And that's what's going to happen. Nobody's going to be out here dying for Jesus Christ, all right, and God. They're going to be out here people, all right, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, all right, you ones that are meant to be preachers and teachers, you're going to be persecuted for the name of Yahweh Shai, because those names are altering the world. Those names are altering the minds of people. Those names are altering the world, as I had stated before. All right. So we can't be afraid. There's no need to be afraid. And let me get this in 1 Corinthians, the 5th chapter. No, it might be 2 Corinthians. Yeah, it's 2 Corinthians. This is 2 Corinthians 5 and 8. It says, "We are confident, I say, and willing rather to be absent from the body and to be present with the Lord." So if you are absent from the body, you are with the Lord Yahweh Shai. And then you can read in the book of Ecclesiastes as well, where it says that the spirit goes upward to the heavenly Father, okay? And the body goes back to the dust where it came. All right? It says, verse 9, it says, "Wherefore we labor, that we, whether present or absent, we may be accepted of him." All right? It says, "For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Mashiach, that everyone may receive the things done in his body according to that he hath done, whether it be good or bad. Knowing therefore the terror of Yahweh, we persuade men, but we are made manifest unto Yahweh, and I trust also are made manifest in your consciousness." Okay? All right, so my point of reading that is, hey, when we have to go through that persecution and we give up the ghost or give the spirit, whatever you want to call it, all right, we're going to go back and be with the Lord, man. There's no such thing as hell, okay, because the Bible doesn't contradict itself, okay? But persecution is coming, all right? Don't be afraid. The Lord's going to be with us, all right? Lord will is edified to the next time. Shalom.